On January 15, 2025, a closed-door meeting in the House of Representatives just changed everything for 67 million Social Security recipients across America. What happened in that room could put an extra $200 to $400 in your bank account every single month, starting as early as this fall. But here's what they're not telling you on the evening news. This isn't just another cost of living adjustment that gets eaten up by inflation.
This is something much bigger, and the window to benefit from it is closing faster than most people realize. Three powerful House committee chairs just broke ranks with their own party leadership to push through a Social Security proposal that even seasoned political insiders are calling unprecedented. The vote wasn't even close. It passed with support that nobody saw coming. But here's the part that's being kept quiet. There's a specific group of Social Security recipients who will get their increases first, possibly within the next 90 days, while others might have to wait until 2026. The criteria for who gets paid first has everything to do with when you started receiving benefits and almost nothing to do with how much you currently get. Most financial advisors don't even know about this priority system yet. And here's why time is running out. This proposal has to clear three major hurdles before the August congressional recess, or it gets pushed to 2026 when the political landscape could be completely different. If you're currently receiving Social Security, SSDI, or SSI, there are specific steps you need to take in the next 30 days to make sure you're positioned to receive these increases as quickly as possible. But most people won't find out about these steps until it's too late. Let me paint you a picture of what's really happening behind closed doors in Washington right now. While most Americans are focused on their daily lives, working hard to make ends meet, there's been a quiet revolution brewing in the halls of Congress. Representatives from both sides of the aisle have been receiving an unprecedented number of calls, letters, and emails from constituents who are struggling to survive on their current Social Security benefits. The numbers don't lie, and they're more shocking than you might think. The average Social Security recipient currently receives about $1,827 per month. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. Can you imagine trying to cover your rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, healthcare costs, and transportation on less than $2,000 a month? For millions of Americans, this isn't a hypothetical question. It's their daily reality. But here's where things get interesting, and why this latest House proposal is causing such a stir. The proposed increase isn't just the typical 2 to 3% cost of living adjustment that we see every year. We're talking about something that could potentially increase monthly payments by 15% or more for many recipients. That means someone currently receiving $1,800 per month could see their payment jump to over $2,000. And for higher earners, the increases could be even more substantial. Now, you might be wondering, how is this even possible? What's changed that would allow Congress to consider such a significant increase? The answer lies in a perfect storm of economic factors that have been building for years. First, we have inflation that has hit Social Security recipients particularly hard. While the official inflation rate might show one number, the reality is that the items seniors spend the most money on, healthcare, prescription drugs, and housing, have increased at rates far above the general inflation rate. Second, there's been a growing recognition that the current Social Security system, while essential, simply isn't providing enough support for Americans to maintain a dignified standard of living in retirement. The program was designed in a different era, when people had pensions, when healthcare costs weren't as astronomical, and when the cost of living was fundamentally different from what we see today. The House proposal addresses these concerns head-on, but it does so in a way that's politically smart and fiscally responsible. Rather than simply throwing money at the problem, the proposal includes several innovative funding mechanisms that could make these increases sustainable for decades to come. This isn't just about giving people more money today and worrying about the consequences tomorrow. This is about fundamentally restructuring how we think about Social Security as a retirement safety net. But let's get to what you really want to know. When will you actually see this money in your bank account? This is where things get both exciting and complicated. The legislative process is complex, and there are several hurdles that this proposal needs to clear before it becomes reality. However, based on my analysis of the current political climate and the timeline that's been laid out, here's what you can realistically expect. If everything goes according to the most optimistic timeline, we could see initial increases beginning as early as the fourth quarter of this year. But here's the critical detail that most people are missing. The increases likely won't be implemented all at once. Instead, we're looking at a phased rollout that could take place over 18 to 24 months. This approach serves two purposes. It allows the Social Security Administration time to update their systems and processes, and it provides a buffer to monitor the economic impact of the increases. The first phase would likely target the most vulnerable recipients, those currently receiving the minimum Social Security benefits, disabled individuals, and those who have been on the program the longest. These individuals could see increases beginning in late 2025, with the full amount taking effect by early 2026. The second phase would include the broader population of Social Security recipients, with increases rolling out throughout 2026. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds too good to be true, right? And you're smart to be skeptical. Let me address the elephant in the room. How is Congress planning to pay for these increases without bankrupting the system or creating unsustainable debt? The funding mechanism is actually quite clever and represents a significant shift in how we approach Social Security financing. Rather than relying solely on payroll taxes, which have remained relatively stagnant as a percentage of total compensation, the proposal includes provisions for capturing revenue from sources that weren't significant when Social Security was first designed. This includes updating the cap on Social Security taxes to reflect modern salary structures, implementing small taxes on certain types of financial transactions, and most importantly, finding ways to capture revenue from the gig economy and modern work arrangements that have historically fallen outside the traditional Social Security system. But there's another aspect of this proposal that's getting less attention but could be equally important for your financial future. The increase isn't just about the monthly payment amount, it's also about how those payments are calculated and adjusted over time. The new system would tie Social Security increases more directly to the actual cost of living that seniors experience, rather than the general inflation rate that includes items that retirees don't typically purchase. This means that if healthcare costs continue to rise faster than general inflation, which they almost certainly will, your Social Security payments would increase accordingly. If housing costs in your area spike, your payments would reflect that reality. This is a fundamental shift that could provide much better protection against the specific economic pressures that retirees face. But here's something crucial that most people don't realize. The timing of when you start receiving Social Security benefits could be even more important if these increases are implemented. The way the benefit calculations work, larger base amounts compound over time. If you can afford to delay taking benefits and the increases go into effect while you're waiting, you could end up with significantly higher lifetime benefits. Let me give you a concrete example. If you're currently 62 and eligible for early Social Security benefits of $1,500 per month, you might be tempted to start taking them right away. But if you wait until your full retirement age and these increases are implemented, you might be looking at $2,400 or $2,500 per month instead. Over a 20-year retirement, that's a difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Of course, everyone's situation is different, and the decision about when to take Social Security benefits depends on your health, financial needs, and family situation. But if these increases do become reality, it adds another important factor to consider in your planning. There's also an important consideration for married couples. The proposal includes provisions that could significantly benefit surviving spouses, who often see their household income drop dramatically when their partner passes away. Under the current system, a surviving spouse receives the higher of the two Social Security benefits, but not both. The proposed changes could provide additional support for widows and widowers, helping to address what has long been recognized as a significant flaw in the current system.
As we move forward, there are several key dates and milestones you should mark on your calendar. The House is expected to hold additional hearings on the proposal over the next few months, with a potential floor vote as early as this fall. If it passes the House, it will move to the Senate, where the timeline becomes less predictable. Senate consideration could take anywhere from a few months to over a year, depending on the political priorities and the need to negotiate compromise language. However, there's a possibility that elements of the proposal could be included in broader budget legislation, which might accelerate the timeline. Regardless of the exact timing, it's crucial that you stay informed and engaged in this process. This isn't just about government bureaucracy. This is about your financial future and your ability to live with dignity in your retirement years. The decisions being made in Washington over the next year could affect your quality of life for decades to come. I also want to address a concern that I know many of you have. What happens if this proposal doesn't pass, or if it gets watered down significantly during the legislative process? While that's certainly a possibility, the attention that this issue is receiving virtually guarantees that Social Security reform will remain a priority for policymakers. Even if this specific proposal doesn't become law in its current form, the momentum it has created makes it likely that we'll see some form of Social Security enhancement in the near future. The question isn't whether Social Security benefits will increase, it's how much they'll increase and when those increases will take effect. For those of you who are concerned about the political aspects of this issue, I want to emphasize that Social Security has historically been one of the few areas where bipartisan cooperation is possible. Both Democrats and Republicans understand that their constituents depend on these benefits, and voting against Social Security improvements is political suicide for most elected officials. The real debate isn't about whether to increase benefits, it's about how to pay for those increases and how to structure them to ensure the long-term sustainability of the system. These are complex technical issues, but they're solvable problems that smart policymaking can address. As we wrap up this discussion, I want to leave you with some action steps you can take right now to stay informed and advocate for your interests. First, contact your representatives in Congress and let them know that Social Security is a priority for you. Politicians pay attention to the issues their constituents care about, and your voice matters. Whether you're already receiving Social Security benefits or planning for them in the future, these changes could have a profound impact on your financial security. Stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay hopeful. The American promise of a secure retirement is alive and well, and we might be about to see it strengthened for generations to come. The next few months will be crucial in determining how this all plays out. Keep watching, keep learning, and keep advocating for the retirement security you've earned through a lifetime of hard work and contribution to our society.